Yeah.
All right. We're live. Welcome in.
Wow. You are loud.
No. Hey,
You are loud, sir.
y'all better grab something and hold on, because this one's going to be a good one. All right. It's Unnecessary Roughness, Barstool's College Football Show, live on a Saturday night. It's 10:30. Where most of the main continent games are finished. We've got some out on the West Coast that are still going, including actually the ones that are happening right now don't matter. Doesn't matter at all. Don't pay attention to the ones happening on the West Coast. That's what I say anyway.
I won't talk about the one that you're talking about, but USC is playing, and that is they're still in the hunt. They're playing Utah State. I do have a multi-view with Arizona State, whoever they're playing.
Mississippi State just hit a big one.
Yeah, they did. By the way, it's almost midnight.
It might be a push-off, though. I'm worried.
Hey. Well, stop. Everybody stop. Tell them about High Noon.
Oh, yeah. Well, first of all, this is Unnecessary Roughness, Barstool Sports College Football Podcast. Ev, Brandon, and I were all in Ann Arbor, Michigan this morning. I can only imagine how Brandon's going to introduce that segment. But, Ev, I got to tell you. Hold on a minute.
It was a push-off.
No, it wasn't. Shut up.
No, Brandon, I bet Mississippi State. I'm saying that's what they called it.
I told everybody there not to bet Mississippi State.
But you know what? When you weren't in the room, though, I said, just remember, he's just battered. He's a battered guy. Like, he's going to tell you not to bet Mississippi State. Anyways, okay, so I'm sorry. High noon. Squirrel. Ev, we were there in Ann Arbor this morning. I was at the house last night as well, watching the NFL game, watching all the different sports that were on there. And I had so many peach iced teas responsibly. So many peach High Noon iced teas. It was like 40 degrees out where, the big house is right there. And it was just like, you know what? We've been talking about how High Noon's great all summer, great in the water. There's nothing like a cool, crisp football weather High Noon. And I experienced it for the first time this season, last night and this morning. Phenomenal.
Casey, High Noon tastes like one thing. It tastes like victory. That's what it tastes like. It's just delicious. It's fantastic. Nice chill in the air, like you said, on a hot summer day, a nice fall day with a little breeze, maybe hoodie weather. Grab a High Noon. God bless.
HighNoonSpirits.com. Find a pack near you. All right, Brandon. Floor is yours.
All right, here we go. Alive, okay? I'm talking about life just pulsing through college football. Listen, of course, we're going to talk about Texas emasculating and ending Michigan today. We're going to talk about them getting embarrassed and Dave Portnoy being shrunk down to like this big, which didn't take much shrinking. We're going to talk about all of that. We're going to talk about everything. But there was about an hour period in that middle window when Notre Dame was up against it, when Iowa and Iowa State were going up at it, and it was just shit was popping off everywhere. It was like, y'all know that meme? The PFT does a lot. I know everybody does it, but he does the meme like, God, I love cocaine. He does that one.
Yes.
I had that moment today. I was like, oh, my God, I love college football. I was just mainlining college football. Notre Dame's they're in a war, and they're – God, what just happened?
Yikes. It's okay, Brandon, focus. Remember how happy you were until this moment.
Oh, Frank Mitch. Okay.
Focus.
You just went full Frank. That was a bite.
He just went full Frank the Tank. We need to get him like the necklace that Frank has.
That middle window, when Oklahoma State and Arkansas were doing their thing and Notre Dame was doing their thing and Iowa State was doing their thing, it was perfect. It was unbelievable college football is what I'm trying to say, Big F.
Brandon, today was one of the better college football days I've ever had.
Yeah, it really was.
I mean, just from Michigan getting absolutely dominated, emasculated, embarrassed, just showing that not only are they not a real contender, they're not good. Yeah, they're just like not a good football team, period. The defense is not even close to what it was. The offense is putrid. I mean, God, do they stink. Offensive line isn't very good. They have individual players on defense that are going to go high in the draft, but they don't play together well. They don't play good team defense. I think Texas also is very good. Texas is the real deal.
Well, you're bogging down on that game. We're going to get to that game in a minute. Tell me about the whole thing.
But then just to top it off, then Notre Dame, those arrogant scumbags who 90% of them didn't even go to school there. Yeah. They're riding high. They beat A&M on the road. Then they lose to teeny tiny NIU at home.
Yeah.
In a game where they were outgained by 100 yards. It wasn't some fluke. They just got flat out beat.
And they paid $1.4 million to do so, by the way. Every time that happens, it's the best story.
NIU hits a lick and fucking wins the game. And then Ohio State goes and just does what they do. They 56-0 Mac school, easy peasy. That's what good teams do. You beat Mac schools 56-0. You don't lose to them at home. But
May I say something? May I say something that I feel like, and maybe I'm the only one that's guilty of this, but I feel like I do it every year. And we always know how exciting week 1 is because it's back and we have games for 5 days. And there always feels like going into week 2, it's like, the slate's just not very good. Okay, we've got Texas, Michigan, we've got Colorado, Nebraska, we've got Iowa State. But I do this every year where I'm like, I'm just not really as excited about this outside of a couple games. And every year I sit here on this recording live and like, these are when the days are the craziest. Like the days that we don't think games are going to be the most exciting is when the most chaos happens.
So we're going to get to all of it. We're going to get to Texas and Michigan. We're going to get to Northern Illinois, Notre Dame, Iowa, that great Cy-Hawk rivalry, and Nebraska and Colorado tonight, Tennessee putting on a show, Alabama struggling, Oklahoma struggling, all these teams. A lot of teams out there Penn State struggling. A lot of teams out there struggling, but we have to. By the way, hi, Bloodman. I don't think you've said a word.
I haven't yet. Hey, man, good to be here. Glad to feel welcome. Just watching ball. 20 seconds delayed on the Mississippi State game. That's going to be tough to deal with, but that's okay. Road game.
I think you'll be all right. I'll probably be turning it off shortly.
That's okay.
So,
all
right.
Watching Liam, if you need me to update you.
Number 1. First of all, we got a much bigger game going than that. Y'all need to have eyes on Boise, Oregon. I'm the one that needs to watch this. Y'all watch Boise, Oregon.
It's tough when it's halftime, Brandon.
Well, that's what y'all need to be watching. Y'all need to be watching this. Nobody needs to be watching.
Nobody
on earth needs to be watching this but me.
The problem is that the carrier that I use, the app that I use, no free ads with the multi-view, doesn't allow Peacock as a multi-view. So I can't if I want to watch USC as well.
Same.
So I would have to get out of this app where I'm watching multiple games to watch the Oregon game. I wish they did. I don't know why I can't do it, but
All right. Let we start where we should start. We started this day with Big Ev and a crowd of douchebags, me on a stage listening to a teeny tiny Lord Farquaad of a man with his little crown and his scepter and everything, and they're the kings of college football. And I said it and Ev said it. It ends today. And guess what happened? It ended today. Our long national nightmare where we have to pretend that Michigan's the best program in the country, or we have to pretend that Dave Portnoy knows college football, we have to pretend he even knows who the players are on his team, is fucking over. It is over. Michigan has been exposed, and Big Ev already said it. They didn't get exposed as a team who isn't quite good enough to win a national title. They're fucking terrible. They're not good. They have 0 weapons on offense. They have 0 quarterbacks. They have a coach they're stuck with, by the way, because they had to reward him for last year. He's not a head college football coach. They do not have anything on that team, and nobody deserves it more than these pieces of shit Ann Arbor, Michigan, Big Ev. Nobody.
It was just a joy to watch. And just to sit there and Dave does his little dance because I say, uh-oh, and then the touchdown gets called back. Then they go score another one, then another one, and another one, and another one, until he goes home back to Miami on his private jet. And they're down $1 million at halftime. They're just, like you said, they're just not very good. They're just not a good – they downgraded on every single aspect of their football team. Like I said, they have good individual players on defense that are going to get drafted high in the first round. But that doesn't mean they play good team defense. Quinn Ewers, he made it look easy out there. He got what he wanted.
He's also
– and I want to give Quinn Ewers some credit because he is such a better football player than he was even 2 years ago. From his decision-making, his accuracy, I think Ewers is the real deal. I think he's going to go in the first round. But Michigan is just terrible. They are just not a very good football team. I don't know if they're a top 25 team, to be honest with you.
No, I know. They're not.
They're not.
They're not good. And let me tell you something. Steve Sarkisian is a better man than me, which probably goes without saying because I'm a piece of shit. But Steve Sarkisian, they won that game 31-12. If they wanted to, if he wanted to, like he could have rubbed their nose in it. He could have. That game didn't have to be 31-12. That's all I'm saying. Just fantastic. And Tech, listen, it's always fun to shit on Michigan, and I'm going to do it a lot. Texas is really fucking good.
They're really good. They're really good. I mean, and listen, I don't know, and I don't think that any of you guys noticed it. I was telling the guys when we were on the way to the airport, I didn't pick like who I thought was going to cover or win that game because I learned my lesson last year when I picked again when it was Alabama, Texas, and I did the horns down and I took Alabama because if I take Texas and I'm not a true Aggie, whatever, and I knew that Texas would probably win, I didn't pick that game. And I still didn't think it was going to be that ugly. I thought Michigan would hang in a little bit, but yes, Michigan looked like ass. There's no question about that. The bigger thing to me is I think Texas is really, really fucking good. And I've been saying that, I have them in the SEC championship losing to Georgia, but it just amplified it again where it's like what we saw with them against Alabama last year. That Alabama team would beat this Michigan team, no doubt. But it's what we talked so much shit about Texas in the trenches for so long, not just Texas, the Big 12 in general. They're just good at every position. They've got superstar wide receivers, superstar quarterback. They've got a Manning on the bench if they need him. They're great on defense. So to me, it was a mixture of both, but I just think Texas is an absolute weapon. And that's tough.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think there was a moment, Big Ev, and where Sharon Moore was standing on the sidelines watching all this happen and realized, oh, fuck, they really stuck me with this. They really scapegoated me. I'm really going to be the one that has to drive this ship into the ground because that's what's going to happen. He'll be fired within 2 or 3 years because they're not that good, and he's not the coach to turn it around. He's just been left with a steaming pile of dog shit left by everybody else who got out on the first plane out of town.
He has no business being the head coach of this football team.
No, none.
He got handed a very, very good team last year that was able to just keep the train on the tracks for a few games, and he got rewarded because of this because Harbaugh left. I mean, that game, it was so apparent the way Sarkisian and the Texas coaching staff was just coaching circles around Michigan.
Oh,
I mean, the play calling, even Dave was admitting it. We're watching the first half in the house where, they have everybody in Michigan going one way, boom, little counter the other way. They just had something for every look that Michigan gave them on defense. They just carved them up so easily, so much smarter, so much more well prepared. Even the D tackles, I'm seeing plays where Mason Graham's out there getting washed, getting legitimate. Yeah,
well, it turns out, Big Ev, when you don't know what play's coming, it's a little harder to play defense.
Oh.
They were bullying them.
No, please, Casey, please. If that's not proof, if today's not proof, then what is?
I don't want to go back down this road again, but not having your quarterback, your star wide receiver, and your head coach
over 100 yards a game.
It would be wildly different if it was still Jim Harbaugh, J.J. McCarthy, Blake Corum, that whole team was still there and that happened, yes. But this is a completely different team. They don't have the head coach that they had.
You're right. But in the offseason, I said this is a completely different team. They're not going to be nearly as good. And Michigan fans, I know that. Michigan fans did not like that, 1,000%. And yeah, it's like we can make the Connor Stallions jokes, whatever. At the end of the day, anybody who sat back and really looked at this team, it's like when Jim Harbaugh obviously is showing how good of a coach he was in comparison to Sharon Moore. And last year without Jim Harbaugh, it wasn't like Sharon Moore had to make all his own decisions. Jim Harbaugh was making those decisions. We know that. Anybody with a brain knows that. So it's like there were also mitigating circumstances. Blemon, are we overreacting? Is Michigan going to be fine, or are we just?
No, they're terrible, and I don't think that there's 25 teams worth ranking in the top 25 either. So I don't think that they're one of them. I don't think there's a lot of other teams that are worth being ranked there. I thought one thing that I noticed was anytime Texas got a little bit creative with an offensive play call, Michigan was completely lost. They couldn't follow anything. Anytime there was motion, Brand, don't do that face, because anytime there was motion, they were lost. Also, Texas needs to do a better job of distributing touches in the running back room. Jarrett Gibson, the true freshman running back, needs way more touches than 10. He's just a different kind of running back that they have. Blue has great speed, Gibson would be a really good running back. You know what I'm saying? What was the nice thing I noticed in that game?
He just had a glitch.
Do we need to unplug you and plug you back in?
No, I'm good. Oh, that's what I was going to say. Yeah.
Running back needs more touches.
No, I said that.
That's I was your placeholder. I was throwing you back trying to put you back on the tracks.
I was just going to say Texas could have scored 50 plus in that game. I had no issues. I don't know why they didn't run up. It was also a game where he's turned off at halftime. I didn't watch the second half.
There was, you know what, and I did watch some of the second half. Michigan did not approach offense like they even wanted to win that game. They did not even try. Like they realized it was done. They were just trying to piece together first downs and like inches and inches at a time. It just wasn't happening.
I mean, they were just completely outmatched in every single facet of the game: coaching, players, talent, scheme, everything.
All right. As much as, and we've got plenty of time to circle back to Michigan. As much as I loved what I saw today and Michigan getting exposed and not being very good and all that, I loved it. I loved Dave having to shut up. I loved everything about it. The game that happened in South Bend, Indiana is a little bit funnier to me. It's a little bit funnier. It's a little bit bigger of a deal. It's a little bit bigger. Like, we knew Texas was going to beat Michigan. Fine, Texas beat Michigan. We did not know Notre Dame was going to fucking piss down their legs and shit all over the field. Last week, they beat A&M. Okay, yay, they beat A&M. We don't know how good Notre Dame is. We don't know how good A&M is. But people had no problem saying, oh, my God, here we go again. Marcus Freeman is doing this. Marcus Freeman's doing that. The only thing I thought at the end of the last week was I'm going to give Notre Dame their credit for beating A&M. They went on the road and did it. But let's not act like this coach can't lose a game he's not supposed to lose. And I didn't know it was going to happen the very next week. Northern Illinois walks in there, and like the Big Ev's already said, they didn't go in there and fluke them. They fucking whipped their ass. They outgained them by 100 yards. They overcame some home cooking by the refs late, and they just beat them. And that coach, Thomas Hammock, I believe is his name, in tears, standing on the 50-yard line in Notre Dame Stadium after beating a top 5 team, is what makes this sport the best sport. I just said a lot of words, but Big Ev, what a phenomenal football game.
Just magical, Brad. I mean, everything's coming up me today. That's how I feel. I feel like everything I touch turns to gold. Everything I want to turn to shit is turning to shit. It's incredible. I mean, the only thing I want to apologize for giving them too much credit last week for beating A&M, because I gave them too much credit. I gave my kudos to them, and I'm rescinding those kudos.
I agree.
I'm doing the same thing.
They flat out just stink. I mean, to lose that game and get beat in the fashion that they did, that was an embarrassment.
Look back at the A&M
that
game.
alone, I don't care if they run the table. You can't make
No.
They're not going to, but I'm saying in the hypothetical world that they do, you can't put a team that lost to NIU in the playoff. Their season's over. It's done.
Yeah. And I do think that the rational Notre Dame fans, at least the ones that I know, granted, they're all upset right now for good reason. Like, I do think that because I didn't see a single person today that I know personally that it's a Notre Dame fan thinking they're still going to get in the playoff. They all said the season's dead. So at least they're rational about it. They're not rational, but at least they know that their season's over.
Well, I mean, Riley Leonard stinks. He's not very good. He has no weapons at receiver. They got one running back they don't give the ball to enough. That's Jeremiah Love. Riley Leonard probably runs it too much. They're not physical up front. Their offensive line stinks. Like, they're not built like a playoff team. The honest thing that happened last week is they played a Texas A&M team who's probably average. They're probably average.
And we won 52-10 today, okay?
Yay. They're probably average. And they're an average football team. And what happened was it was 13-13 with 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and Notre Dame had a great 8 minutes, and won that game. And today they got their ass kicked for 60 minutes by a lower level team. And there's just so many problems. And Marcus Freeman, last week he's pumping his chest and he's getting everybody, he's making all these viral clips. But this week he's playing an overmatched team and can't figure out how to overmatch them. Can't do it. I just think Notre Dame is the most fraudulent. Everything I said about Michigan, Notre Dame, just gigantic frauds. I never should have even thought about going away from my take that they were overrated at the beginning of the season, because they just can't be a top 10 team with this coach ever, I think. He's not the guy. When
you watch the A&M game last week, and obviously, like, taking my bias out of it because I wanted A&M to win, but like, that was an ugly football game. It was not great football for anybody. I mean, Notre Dame's defense played fine. A&M's defense played fine too. But like, when you really look back at that game, it's not like Notre Dame just like outclassed the entire time and they were just so much more talented. I mean, Wigman was so shit. So it surprises me that they lost to Northern Illinois. But again, it's not like we're talking about they went in and like beat Georgia last week at home. What's interesting to me now is when you look at, the FPI or whatever stats, like how they were projected to win out. Like, I would love to see what that's going to look like now, because we know Florida State's shit. They have to play USC, right? Like, they have to play some other teams. I think they had a 95% chance to win this game today. So I wonder what that's going to look like now as far as the playoff goes.
I hope people learn a lesson. Just stop looking at schedules and saying they're going to get to the playoff because it's an easy schedule. You got to look at the team. You got to look at the team first. Don't worry about the schedule. You got to look at the team. And that team, Riley Leonard's not a good enough quarterback to think he's going to go 12-0. That offense is not a good enough offense to think they're going to go 12-0. Now, I want to shit on somebody else real quick. Can I shit on somebody else?
Yes.
Yes.
Casey might not like this because she used to be one. At the end of the game, Thomas Hammock is getting interviewed by the sideline reporter.
Oh, okay. I did not know where you were going with that.
And sideline reporter, you know my take that I keep under the surface that sideline reporters are the most useless thing we have in college sports.
Nice.
But they're sitting there and she's interviewing him and she's like, Coach, he's crying. He's crying. The band's playing. His team is hugging and they're going everywhere. And Notre Dame Stadium is silent. And touchdown Jesus is looking down on him. He just beat a top 5 team. It's the biggest professional moment of his life. It might be the biggest moment of his life. I don't know what his life's like. It's and he is crying. And she goes, Coach, where's this emotion coming from? What? We pay somebody to ask these questions? We pay somebody probably good money to stand there and say,
that's probably not that good of the money, to be honest.
Why are you crying? What?
You know, it was a bad question. I don't even know what her name is. That game is not a game where you're putting your like most experienced, most like understanding sideline reporters there, because that game was supposed to go the opposite way. Notre Dame was favored by like 4 touchdowns.
No, but that's the Notre Dame crew that does it every Notre Dame game.
Yeah, so but that like it's not like it's not like Laura Rutledge going out there. That's all I'm saying. Okay.
Can I just say that AP voters have been proven to be smoking crack? How on earth is that team ranked number 5 in the country? This stuff doesn't matter.
It's not just that, but they did the thing where they put Georgia Tech in the fucking poll.
Yeah,
even though Florida State had just proven they sucked. So
I wanted to talk about that the other day.
And now you know what they're going to do? They're going to like Kansas got beat by Illinois, so Illinois is going to replace Kansas in there, and I'm not sure Illinois is good either. So it's just
you put too much stock in your garbage preseason rankings about teams you don't know anything about,
and they don't watch
nothing. It's very triggering that they run the sport for about half the season. It's unbelievable. Also, you could take the coach out of Notre Dame. You can't take Notre Dame out of Notre Dame. They play another ball control. What do you mean? Where are you doing that for? They time and time again they play.
I'm just trying to figure it out.
Yes, time and time again they play ball control teams and they struggle heavily. Northern Illinois just ran the ball down their throats. They chewed a bunch of clock. It was just chunk and chew. Chunk a few yards on the ground, chew the clock. Ontario Brown's an NFL running back. Even got hurt with the non-contact injury. I thought his season was done. Comes back.
He came back.
Yeah. He's incredible. He got so much grit. He moves so well for his size. He's got a nice stiff arm. Like that kid's an NFL guy, and his 80th yard touchdown receiving on the slant. That dictated the game.
Oh, that changed everything because now Notre Dame knows they're in a fight. Let's shit on one more thing real quick before we move on. I don't know when we decided there must be conclusive video evidence is the most powerful phrase in the fucking universe. Where we can't go on as a society unless there's clear evidence of they showed this replay. It's 3rd and 2 or whatever it is. If Notre Dame gets a first down, they get to run the clock all the way down to 0 and then kick, and the game would be over. The guy, his entire body just barrel rolls past the first down marker. Just not even close. And this punk ass ref gonna come in holding his hand up a half yard behind the where he should have been. And Tommy, I'm doing a show. You can't turn the lights off, bud. Thank you. So anyway, this ref comes in and then they go, and I think, okay, well, good. They got the camera on it. They'll be able to show exactly what happened. And the announcers are sitting there with their thumbs up their butts. The camera's showing me the guy got it by a half yard, maybe a full yard, and they're saying, well, I can't see the ball. It's probably attached to his fucking body. It's probably like right there where it's been the whole time. Can't you just assume the goddamn ball's there?
what's even crazier about that is, like, they say that you have to have evidence, like, just because the camera angle got the guy's back, right? Like, had he fallen the other way, we would have seen the ball clearly over the first down marker. But it was like, well, we can't physically see the ball. And what I don't understand about this, and maybe I'm just not smart enough, which is a fair argument. Like, in tennis, Liam, you're a tennis guy.
Yep.
Like, they have technology where they can see within a millisecond exactly where the balls land, whether the serves are out or if it's on the line. Like, I mean, I'm talking like immediately. And I understand that's different when you've got a moving player. But how do we not have something like that in college football? If the technology is that good and that quick with a tiny little tennis ball in every single serve.
I don't know. I don't think they want something like that. I think they like the drama that gets created without it, and I think they want that. I agree.
All right. Well, moving on to the next game. And I know.
Brandon, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Have you showered today?
Yeah, I've showered. I put my Texas jersey back on.
Why don't you take it off?
What do you mean take my Texas jersey off?
Just take it off. I'm sick of looking at it.
You're saying I'm just wearing this because they beat a team that I don't like? Is that what you're saying?
I am saying that, and I think that it's time to take it off.
It'll make you more comfortable. I'll take it off.
You know why, though? I also have to remind you that your team does also play in the same conference.
We'll make you more comfortable there.
It's a great shirt. It's a great shirt.
If it'll make you more comfortable, I'll take it off.
I knew there was a reason. I
don't know what you want me to say. I'm just
informative. Isn't there something going on in wrestling right now? Are you doing your wrestling bit?
No, I'm just chilling.
Okay. Well, so for all the people that are listening, again, remember it's not all visual. Brandon just took off his Texas jersey to wear an Iowa State shirt.
This idiot in the chat says Brandon just texted Casey to ask him to take it off. No, I didn't. I texted her 45 minutes ago.
I was about to say, he texted me before the show.
Tommy, come here. Yeah. Go turn that TV off. Or just press.
We haven't even talked about this yet. And I realized that the graphic was wrong.
What?
And a lot of people shit on me.
What's Big F doing?
Cyclones. He's talking about the Cyclones.
Okay.
Our unnecessary roughness parlay hit today.
Yeah.
4-leg parlay. It was like what, plus 16?
Yeah.
And the college football. That's everything. I'm hitting two. I hit two 15-1 parlays today. I had what a great day.
The college football show parlay and the unnecessary roughness parlay hitting in the same day. I don't know what those odds would be.
Yeah.
Just unbelievable. I mean,
this is I'm having deja vu right now, or not deja vu, I guess flashbacks of COVID whenever Brandon just could not do a show at all because one of his 17 children kept interrupting. That's the way I feel right now.
He didn't interrupt. I asked him to turn the TV off because I can't look at that game anymore. We're going to get beat by 90 in the desert. So go to bed. All right, here we go. Big F, do it again. Unlike the Notre Dame game and the Michigan game, where I think Notre Dame should have been shockingly embarrassed and Michigan was exposed as frauds, I do think the Iowa State-Iowa game, which was a terrific football game, it was ugly, but it was a terrific ugly. It wasn't a bad ugly. I do think both of those teams are really good. And I think Iowa State winning it doesn't really hurt Iowa in the long run. I think Iowa's probably still going to be whatever Iowa's going to be. But it was really good. And goddamn, it's early in the season. And gut check moments are rare early in the season, but Iowa State had one. They were getting handled. I mean, they were getting handled in the first half. They ended up getting to 13-3 at the half, and they just fucking dominate. What an incredible win for Matt Campbell and Rocco Becht and all of Iowa State. And Big Ev, you called it.
Yeah, I mean, what Iowa State was able to, the adjustments they made, what they were able to find in offense in the second half was incredible. I mean, They hit that huge play, that 75-yard touchdown that I thought really kind of sparked it. Rocco Becht looked really, really good in the second half. He looked like in the second half what I thought this team could look like, where they weathered the storm. They have a good defense, and I'll give Iowa, a sliver of credit that Cade McNamara, although he does stink, he is better than what they've had probably the last 3 or 4 years. I think that's probably fair to say.
So this is Iowa's problem. They are better offensively, but they're still not good enough to shut the door. They're still not good enough. Their defense handed them that game on a platter in the first half, and the offense was we're going to play better than we did, but we're still not going to take this game. We're just still going to just leave it right there. And Iowa State came out playing like their hair was on fire in the second half. They hit the big 75-yarder, and then it was like a slow-moving disaster for Iowa because they just kept creeping closer and creeping closer and creeping closer. And finally, a fucking redshirt freshman, Cromartie or whatever is Blutman. Tell me his name, Cromartie?
Yeah.
Lottie or something like that.
Something like that. Redshirt freshman, 54-yard field goal in Iowa City, in your rival's house. That's a balling ass feeling right there. It was an awesome football game.
And I mean that kick, that thing was good from 70.
That thing was good from 70.
He nutted that thing. That thing hit the back rope like way up there. I mean, he smashed it.
It was redemption for the one he missed at the end of the half too, from 41. Yeah.
Also, just that drive they had. They drove to get in field goal range. I think they had no timeouts, and there was like 30 seconds left there.
All right, Big Ev. Let's talk about this because so many fucking teams want to pussyfoot down the field in that situation. They want to take yards 8 and 9 at a time. They want to throw short of sticks, and they end up at the 50 with 2 seconds left, having to throw a Hail Mary. Iowa State hit I think their first play was a 10-yard out. Yep. Second play was probably something like that as well. But then on the third play, they faked the out, double move. He hit the sideline. The throw was perfect from Rocco Beck. The guy catches it, goes down, gets into the edge of field goal range, and it was great play calling, great execution, great everything. And they did so against a great defense in a hostile environment. What a fantastic rivalry game it was in week 2, and just a huge. It's got to be. I think it's Campbell's biggest win at Iowa State outside of they had the upset of Oklahoma, I think, but this for what it means inside the scope of the season, I think is even bigger.
Well, and that's also what we talked about when we previewed this game. That in general, you want to see rivalry games at the end of the season, but as long as it's not your team, seeing it in week 2 because both teams have, all the hope in the world. So now you're looking at Iowa State after beating Iowa the way that they did, and everything that you guys just described. Like in front of them, Matt Campbell is like, "I'm back. Like I'm going to be proving it. We've got the whole season to remind it." And like Iowa's just going to be down bad no matter what because they're like, "Well, our rival beat us in week 2 in that fashion, and we had it all in our hands."
Go ahead.
I think it's been greatly overlooked during the game and after the game that Iowa had a chance to really salt this game away. It was 7-0. They had the ball on the 1-yard line. They came away with 3 points. It was 10-0. They had the ball on the 3-yard line. They came away with 3 points. They had 2 opportunities in the first half to kind of, to go up 14-0, 17-0, put this game away. They could win 21-0. Iowa State clutch, can't take the Iowa out of Iowa though. Even though their offense looked good at times.
Good, yeah. At times, that's a problem. At times, but then when it was nut cutting time in the second half, the offense was the same old shitty offense.
Yeah, it was when Caleb Johnson was able to get to the edge in the second level, and Luke Lachey was blocking so well.
It is weird, because we talked about this too with the preview. It's like Iowa does look better, and they're even trying to throw the ball more. But we can't just expect overnight, just because they got rid of Brian Ferentz and got a new offensive coordinator, for them to all of a sudden be some air raid offense. Not that they're trying to be, but it is going to take some time for them to get used to being able to actually score points.
By the way, Oregon's in a fucking war right now.
Yeah, they are.
I think Oregon might not be
right. I don't think they are either. Although there's. They've now struggled twice. Although struggling with Boise State isn't really struggling.
And Penn State struggled today.
Yeah, we're going to get to a lot of teams that struggle because it was kind of a common theme throughout the day. I got one more standalone game, and then we'll just get to all the rapid fire takes and everything. So we'll do the standalone game. You hit some business. We'll go to the takes. It's Nebraska, Colorado. Nebraska. This is a weird game. Nebraska blew them out, but didn't really blow them out. They beat them 28-10. Just took control early, kind of broke their back early. Do y'all think Shedeur just kind of quit in that game? I don't know.
He left with 2 minutes left.
I know he did that, but even when he was playing, there was a weird energy to Colorado's offense that I'd never seen. Shedeur didn't seem like his heart was in it. Travis Hunter was furious the whole game.
Game.
Big Av, am I crazy?
No, I don't think you're crazy. He threw that pick 6, which was very uncharacteristic of him. I don't think we've ever seen him make that just dumb of a throw. I think I've given him credit, and I think a lot of people have, for his good decision making. Even when he's held the ball at times, he's always been very careful with the ball. He's never been careless with the ball. To have just like a walk-in pick six from his own end zone like that, I feel like after that he wasn't the same. Yeah, I mean listen. I think what Nebraska showed is I think it was two things. One, Rail still has some improving to do, but again he looks the part. I really think he looks the part. He looks like a real guy. And I think what they did this year is they matched the physicality. They actually have weapons. They have speed now. They have skill position guys to go with the quarterback. And I think that's what really has separated them. And I think that's what is going to make them this year, in my opinion, like a team that has a chance to go win like 8-9 games.
I don't think this game is going to matter in the long run when you look back in December and November. You won't look back, to me, at the Colorado game. Why it matters right now is what it now sets up. You had a huge national television audience tune in. Raiola's first big test, first big thing, first big chance as a Nebraska quarterback. He passes, and now you're 2-0, and it sets up. Boy, you look at that schedule. They could be 7-0 heading to Ohio State. They could be 7-0 heading to Ohio State. Like it's not completely easy. They'll have to beat Illinois, who's pretty solid. I think they'll have to beat Indiana on the road, which Indiana's a pretty solid team too. But it is very doable. So they had to beat Colorado to open that door. The door is now open, and now you can really start talking about a Nebraska team whose defense looks fantastic, whose running game looks really good, who looks like a well-coached team for the first time in a long time. Now all possibilities are open, and that's why tonight was a big deal for them.
I also you talk about Shedeur, like the pick six was the change of the tide, but also the fact that they go for it on fourth down. They don't get it in the first series of the game. Then they miss multiple kicks. It was like nothing could go right for them. He did have moments where he was like putting like the Shedeur Sanders drives together. The issue is for Colorado, and like Nebraska deserves all the praise in the world because I love Nebraska. I think Dylan Raiola is great. These same exact problems that plagued Colorado last year are still very glaring. The offensive line cannot protect Shedeur near as well as they need to, and the defense is just very soft outside of Travis Hunter. That's a whole different problem that Deion's going to have to figure out. But as far as Nebraska, like everything that what?
You said that's a whole problem that Deion's going to have to figure out.
Right.
We have zero evidence he's able to do that.
No, I know. I don't know. Like that's what everything that we were told was the problem last year, right? That was going to be fixed in the offseason is clearly not fixed. So I don't know what that means moving forward. I also do think Nebraska is a very good football team across the board. I love Dylan Raiola. We knew their defense was going to be stout. So we'll see what happens with Colorado in the Big 12 play. But like, to me, it's like, okay, like 4-8 last year. You said you were going to fix the problems. I love Deion, but the problems are clearly not fixed. And you've got Travis Hunter furious with Shedeur on the sidelines.
Well, let's be honest. Colorado doesn't have a very good head football coach. They don't. They don't have a good enough football coach. And another thing is, can you imagine? I want all of you to imagine. You name any coach you want to name. Just name a good coach in this country, Big Av. Just one good coach. That's all I want you to do.
Kyle Whittingham.
Kyle Whittingham. Casey, just name one good coach.
Dabo Swinney.
Blumman, name one good coach.
G.J. Kinney.
All right. Could you?
That's a great answer. Just
play
dominate
the fucking game one time. Just name an actual coach people know.
How do people not know? That's crazy.
Kirby Smart, Liam. Say Kirby Smart.
Alex Golesh.
That's a good one.
Just
Alex
battled
Golesh is a good
Alabama
answer.
today.
Say Kirby Smart.
Giving them great answers.
Not every question is a chance for you to say a G5 guy.
I'm not even trying to do that. The first guy that came to mind was G.J. Kinney.
No, it wasn't. That's not.
Yes, it was.
All right, you're out. Who'd you say, Big F?
I said Kyle Whittingham.
Kyle Whittingham, and who'd you say?
I said Dabo.
Imagine if Kyle Whittingham or Dabo Swinney is on the sidelines and they're losing 28-10 and the game is over. Imagine if their starting quarterback left the field with 2 minutes to go and went to the locker room. How do you think that would go? How do you think that would happen? How do you think they would react?
It would not go well.
Honestly, it's when it just won it. Like it just wouldn't happen.
That's true.
It wouldn't happen.
It just won it. It just would never ever happen. That's just the God's honest truth.
You remember whenever Jameis was suspended for a game and he came out fully dressed and Jimbo was like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And like, this is like a Heisman Trophy winning like national championship quarterback, and Jimbo was like, "Get your ass out of here." That's the way it should be. And again, like, I don't want to like absolutely shit all over what's going on in Colorado because I don't like to, but like, there's clearly issues. Like the way that Travis Hunter was acting, Shador leaving, it's just very bizarre.
It's all right. To me, sorry, Brand, it's insane that this whole country talks about this team week to week. I'm tired of it, Brandon. I am tired of it. This team is not good. It's a 3 to 4 win team that gets talked about like a national championship contender. The offensive line stinks. Shador's awareness and attitude is terrible. Yep. Travis Hunter's angry with Shador. Now that's a mess. Shador leaving early is a whole nother mess. Their head coach is great at recruiting, getting guys there, terrible at game planning, terrible at figuring out a way, in-game adjustments. It's all bad. I don't want to keep talking about this team. I'll be honest.
Well, we're probably not going too much longer because, I mean, they had a big spot tonight and they failed tremendously. And I just don't think – I think they're failing because they don't have a very good coach.
And it is 28-10 is not a fair score for that game. I mean, yes, like that's the box score, fine. But if you watched that game, it felt like it was 50-0 going into halftime.
They look less prepared than Bishop Sycamore against IMG.
And you wanted to
not only that, but every time they're down 28-0, and every time they make a tackle, they're getting up doing this shit and they're doing this shit and doing talking shit. Like, dude, make a play.
You were talking about like the energy and everything in Shador, and like you haven't seen it. We've seen that before when they've got down. Also, Shador quit after the first drive. He just straight up quit because the first drive he was getting destroyed snap after snap.
I mean, the offensive line
that wasn't Shador out there. He was straight up left.
Brandon, not to pile on with your sideline reporter take, but at halftime of that game, so it's what 28-0, and I understand, and again, like interviewing Dion is always going to get that. The sideline reporter. And he was very gracious. He's a much better person than me. She sat there and asked him like 3 different questions going into halftime, and they're down by 28 points. And like the whole country's like, we want to hear from Matt Rule right now. Like we don't. And he's sitting there. He's like, I need to get to the locker room. And she just keeps asking. It's like, what are we doing here? What's happening?
It does feel like Matt Rule, by the way, is. It feels like he's building. Feels like
he got his quarterback.
Feels like it's happening. Feels like it is happening in Nebraska. I don't know what that means for this year, whether it's 9-3 or 7-5 or 10-2. I don't know, but it feels like the ship is heading out to sea for Nebraska.
There is a little bit of concern. Like, I mean, I'm Nebraska fans should not be concerned whatsoever, obviously. But like we are talking about, like they killed UTEP and then they beat a not good Colorado team. So there is like it's like pumping the brakes a little bit from like my standpoint of like, oh my God, they're going to like run the Big Ten. So I just don't think that's the case, but they should be very excited because Dylan Raiola is the real deal.
Again, I think they can start 7-0, and that's the crazy part. All right, Casey, do some business, and then we'll hit all the other stuff.
Well, the business, Brandon, is that game time. It's like we are in prime college football season. We're in the first weekend of the NFL. Obviously, all the other sports that are going on right now, concert shows. And Game Time can take you there, Brandon. I know you went. Didn't you go to like your first hockey game with Game Time?
Oh yeah.
Not first hockey. Was it your first hockey game?
Yeah, my first hockey game.
Okay, I went to Justin Bieber with Game Time. I went to see like WNBA games with Game Time. Liam, I'm sure Game Time is taking you guys all over the place. But right now, obviously, prime college football, NFL, and they're giving our listeners a great deal. Who doesn't like great deals, Brandon? You like great deals.
I like great deals. I go to a lot of wrestling shows, but it's not just sports. It can be like comedy shows. It can be theater events. They got tickets to everything. Of course, sports are the number one thing we do here, and it is football season. So I'm sure you can find great football seats to your next pro football game, college football game, whatever.
And they have this brand new Game Time Picks feature. They're making it easier to get to a game, easier than ever. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. So you can go in and you can filter them out much quicker than any other app, any other service. Game Time makes the fluff gone, makes it super easy. So download the Game Time app today and use code RUFF to easily score great deals with the new Game Time Picks. What time is it? It's
game time. Who?
It's Game Time. Use code RUFF.
All right, y'all ready? I'm just going to rapid fire. Y'all can add. Y'all can take away. That is the biggest wine glass I've ever seen in my life. What wine
is glass? That? The wine. It's a normal sized wine glass. It's a heavy.
That's not normal sized.
It's not. I mean, it's
That looks like it's a baseball bat.
well.
That's not normal height.
I think it is.
It's like normal big.
It's like on the bigger side, but it's like still average.
Yeah.
Everybody want to vote normal or not? I say not.
I think it's big.
It's
normal.
like on the slightly above
I don't
average.
think it's freakishly big.
Thank you, Ev.
All right. Are
Don't
ready?
you judge me. It's 12:30 on a Saturday.
I'm not judging anybody. I'm saying that's a big wine glass.
It's not. But you know what? Why don't you rival off? Rapid fire your takes.
All right. Take number 1. The Tennessee Volunteers. Woo! Woo!
Easy.
Listen. The ACC train wreck.
Garbage.
Right? But
well, Cal's pretty good, I guess.
Still, I don't think NC. No, they're not.
I know
but
they're not.
Still, NC State. I don't think they're a bad football team, but Tennessee just treated them like one. And you look around the country and you see Alabama struggle with somebody. You see Penn State struggle with Bowling Green. You see all these teams. Who am I missing? Oklahoma struggling with Houston. Meanwhile, Tennessee is destroying NC State, and it's not just because Nico's pretty good, and he frankly wasn't that great tonight. He was fine. The running game is good. The receivers are good. The defense is out fucking standing. Like, I had them in the playoff when we started this season. I like them even better now. Big Ev, I think they're fantastic.
Tennessee's a playoff team, Brandon. They're a playoff team. That game got flipped on its head. It was 10-3. NC State was driving to score inside the 20, pick 6 the other way, 17-3. The game was over after that. The route was on. And like you said, Nico didn't play that great, but they still just absolutely boat raced him. This defense is legit. They are for real. Because I think NC State is legit playmakers. Like, Concepcion is a legit playmaker, legit NFL wide receiver, offensive skill position playmaker. Good running back. They have some other good receivers too. Tennessee is the real fucking deal. I said I thought the winner of this game would be a playoff team. I think Tennessee is. I mean, it's tough now because you have obviously Georgia. Texas looks so good. Ole Miss look good. I think Tennessee, without question, is to me a top 4 team in the SEC without question. Maybe top 2 ceiling like that.
What do you see out of Tennessee?
Ev, I knew that you're big on Grayson McCall, or you were going into the season. Do you think Tennessee is just that much better than them? Or do you think that they just once that, because the pick 6 was an absolute dagger, that changed the entire feeling of the game. But do you still think they could put something together in the ACC?
Only because the ACC is that dreadful. I don't actually, probably not. I mean, they'd have to beat Clemson, who I think they actually play in the next month or so. Which even that Clemson had a little bounce back. I'm sure we'll get in that a little bit later, but
we will.
Not really. I'm not. NC State, I don't feel their defense is just not there.
Lemon, what'd you say out Tennessee?
What?
Lemon, what'd you say out Tennessee?
Oh, sorry. I was about to say something on Grayson. Tennessee's a really good football team. Your entire offensive line has to focus on James Pierce, opening up things for other guys. It's a very scary team. You guys say they're a playoff team. They're a playoff team that only one team in the country we'd be content with seeing, and that's Georgia. Nobody wants to play that team. Nobody wants to play against that wide stack offense. That stuff is disgusting. You spread and the whole field's open, and Nico does a really good job of understanding and dissecting. And if that's not a good game from Nico, that's frightening. That's really scary.
I feel like he's got better, though.
He does have better. That's the thing. That's a bad game from Nico, and he still carved them. And on the other side, Grayson McCall, I love the guy. We can't keep talking about him like he's that unbelievable Hall of Fame Coastal Carolina guy. This is the second year that Grayson McCall just doesn't have it. He has taken too many injuries. He's taken too many hits. He lost arm strength. He's not the same guy that he used to be, and it's really sad, but that's nature of the game.
All right. How many people here watched intently Illinois and Kansas?
I had it on one of the multi-views.
So, first of all, Illinois beats Kansas. It was my play of the day, Illinois money line, and they did it. Close game. Kansas just not nearly as explosive as they need to be, but Illinois, very good defense. They're off to a 2-0 start. But the biggest thing, two big things here. Number one is, and listen, me and Big Ev, we're big boys. Y'all seen Bielema? He's bigger than he's ever been. Like, this motherfucker's gigantic now.
And he's always been a big boy.
He's always been a big boy, but he's expanded.
Like, we were just talking about the wine glass. Like, he's a little bit above average. Like, he's never been a little bit above average. He's always been a thick boy.
No, Bielema has added like he's added like a front deck and a porch to the whole thing. Like, this is a complex now. This isn't just a house. This is a full complex.
He's a football guy. He's got a smoking hot wife, too.
That's fine, but I hope he doesn't crush her. He is gigantic now. He is so big.
Brandon, we call he's a compound.
Yeah, didn't we say a couple of weeks ago, like, where'd all the fat coaches go? Like, I think Bielema took that personally. He took that shit personally.
I mean, he had to put after Sam Pittman's debacle this morning.
Oh my
God! He had to make up for it.
Oh, we're getting there.
And I want to say, I'll tell you, Luke Altmaier, not a bad quarterback.
No,
he needs some
Franklin's a good ass receiver.
Yeah, it's crazy what happens when you got SEC level talent at Illinois. I'm so angry that he didn't get a chance at Ole Miss, dude.
Yeah,
and he's reunited with this guy, OC of Illinois, that he was with at UTSA. It's a shame he's so much older.
Good defense too. Good defense.
Yes,
Matthew Bailey's
they're a solid team, I think.
Illinois is a team that, like, I don't think I was like high or low on them. They were just kind of like middle of the road for me when we talked about it. Like, they did not get enough credit going into this season. Like, I think a lot of people just buried them because it was like, like a couple years ago they were fine. Like, Bielema's put together a very good team.
Second thing from that game, we'll move on. Illinois beat number 23 Kansas. Beat them 23-17 or whatever they were. They might not have been number 20.
I think 19 they were.
19, sure. Yeah, number 19. I was getting confused with Georgia Tech, who lost to. They beat number 19 Kansas. At the end of the game, when they beat number 19 Kansas, Illinois rushed the field. Now, ordinarily, the cynic in me would say, why are you rushing the field in week 2 against the Kansas Jayhawks? But really, the sweetheart in me goes, oh, good for Kansas. Good for Kansas as they got field rushed on. I bet they've never felt that before.
I love when college kids rush the field.
Yeah, fuck it. Let them do it all the time.
I mean,
it's Illinois. I mean, let it be a top 20 team. Rush the field. Have some fun.
Yeah, go on out there.
Kids have a good time.
Be careful. Don't run into Bielema or you'll trampoline off the face of the earth.
Did you guys see Red Grange?
When you're in college, you just want to have a nice time. Let them have a nice time.
Did you guys see the Red Grange race? Red Grange got smoked by the student.
No, I didn't see the Red Grange race.
They do like their little beat the freeze thing, and the Red Grange guy destroyed.
That's a Liam fact, by the way.
I think today was notable. A lot of big time teams struggling. Alabama can pretend and they can put that scoreboard up and they can say, "Oh, we beat them 42-16." They were in a fucking dogfight into the fourth quarter. They were up 1 point going to the fourth quarter. They end up winning, and that's great, and everybody gets happy. And Alabama was in it, and this is a team that's gonna. I'm not sure Jalen Milroe's going into Knoxville winning that game. Like, I don't think this team's nearly as good as Alabama fans want them to be or want to pretend they are. Oklahoma is just not very good.
They're ass.
Their offensive line's a monstrosity.
They struggle with Houston. Sam Arnold, not Sam. What's his
name?
Jackson Arnold.
Jackson Arnold. Thank you.
Sam Arnold is not great.
We destroyed that Houston team, by the way.
Now, Oklahoma, I get it. Like, I don't think Brent Venables is all that good of a coach. I've said it for years. I understand why they struggled. Alabama struggled with South Florida last year. Somebody want to explain to me, Big Ev, Penn State struggling with Bowling Green?
That was. I'm glad you brought that up because I think that was the most under the radar shocking thing that happened. I mean, they were losing in the second half of that game.
They're lucky Michigan was.
Yes, correct.
They're lucky what happened to Michigan happened at the exact same time they were playing. Because
and it was because it was happening to Oklahoma State at the same time too.
This is one of the most entertaining games of the day.
They were able to kind of just fall into the radar and just win the game at the end and kind of just skirt out of there and get away with it.
Somebody said Drew Aller stinks. End of story. That's not the end of the story. He didn't stink today. They let him throw 8 times in the first half. They let him throw 19 times overall. The offensive game plan was weird, and the defense was just bad. Like, it certainly wasn't a Drew Aller problem. He probably could have played better, but he was not struggle number one. It was just a bizarre team for them to struggle with, too. Bowling Green like that.
Well, Brandon, do you want to go back and look at the group of 5 conference champion parlay that we've all put in?
Oh,
because we do. Because I'll say it.
Yeah.
Good start to some of these teams. Bowling Green, class of the MAC, maybe. I know Northern Illinois won today.
Northern Illinois did beat Notre Dame today.
But Bowling Green has the best player in the conference, Harold Fannin, tight end.
I didn't know I didn't know that we had a parlay with that. I apologize because App State got their shit kicked in today.
No, remember we did it on the show.
What?
We did it on the show.
Yeah, I thought he meant that we actually had like a DraftKings parlay.
No. He just said it, and gotcha. I said, all right, I'm putting that in right now.
Gotcha.
And I think it's like $100 to win 100,000. It was great. It was. Yeah. I ended up putting like 20 on it, but I don't remember what it was. I have to look.
It was UNLV, South Florida, Liberty, Texas State, Bowling Green.
Okay. Next point. Let's see. I got Tennessee, Illinois.
I just really quick with Penn State though, because it was a weird game, like you said, and if Michigan wasn't getting like mollywopped, we would be talking about it more. Like Brandon, as somebody who's been high on Penn State and Drew Aller, and I do agree. I don't think it's completely Drew Aller's fault. He didn't throw the ball very many times. Like, where do you put your level of concern for them in the Big Ten after that?
Not really very high. Outside of Georgia and Ohio State, I feel like everybody can early season struggle and be okay. And I think a whole lot of teams have struggled. Like I said, Alabama struggled today. There have been teams that have really, really struggled. So it wasn't good. It wasn't great. But I think they can probably clean it up and be okay going forward. So I'm not really concerned with it.
Okay.
All right. I don't know if y'all saw it. I'm sure you did because I don't think y'all had left on a plane yet. Arkansas, Oklahoma State. By the way, I almost hit the 3 overtime prediction. I got this close to the 3 overtime prediction. They went to 2 overtimes. Oklahoma State wins 39-31. I have never in my life seen a team actively try to lose more than Arkansas did today. The fact they let Sam Pittman back on the plane to go back to Arkansas, the athletic director needs to be fired. They outgained them 647-345. They outgained them by 300 yards. And they lost. They lost. There was no ball security. They're putting the ball on the ground. They're just pitching it everywhere. It's dropping. At the end, when it's going to overtime, Sam Pittman has no idea how to manage the clock, has no idea how to get to get things where they need to be. Sam Pittman is a terrible coach. That Arkansas team they're just as talented as Oklahoma State. Oh, and another thing. Ollie Gordon for Heisman's dead. Like that thing never got out. He has not been good at all. And you can say it's the offensive line, whatever. Sure, okay, that's fine. He's averaging like the 3.2 yards a carry. He is not a difference maker right now whatsoever.
He had 8 for 14 at one point today.
What's that? Say it again.
He had 8 carries for 14 yards at one point today.
Yeah, it was really, really bad. And Bowman, by the way, this was an awful football game. Both teams tried to lose it. If you didn't watch it and you look at the score, you're like, oh my God, that was a classic. These two teams, don't let me say a word I can't say. These two teams were out stupiding each other. Oklahoma State is driving in regulation to try to win the game. Bowman, a 7th-year senior, hits a pass, turns to the Arkansas sideline, and just does this to him all the way down the field and gets a 15-yard penalty. And then it was remarkable. Oklahoma State's not very good. Arkansas, they could be pretty good, but that coach is going to limit them. There was a train wreck of an incredible football game.
What is it going to take for Sam Pittman to get fired? Because, like, we know, was it 2 seasons ago when they had all the hope in the world and, like, it's fallen flat. Like, that game, and, like, I did get to watch that game. It was just an ugly, disgusting, gross, fun display of college football. But, like, Arkansas beat themselves. Like, he lost that for his team. Like, he was god awful. So what, like, are they just like, well, we'll just let it ride out, and then like what, Bobby Petrino's back at head coach? Like, what are they going to do?
They're in an interesting spot. Now, I will say for Pittman's sake, he did make all the mistakes. Like Taylon Green had a walk-in touchdown on the last drive, and he missed a wheel route by 5 yards. So it wasn't just him, but it was crazy. It was
if they fire him hypothetically at some point during the season, is Bobby Petrino their head coach again?
I don't see any world where he's not. I think he's their interim coach.
He's so funny.
All right, let's see. Speaking of not speaking of anything, but in the SEC, I thought Kentucky would be pretty good, and I thought South Carolina was garbage. And I was right. One of these teams looked pretty good. One of these teams is garbage. South Carolina beat the shit out of Kentucky, and I have no idea where that came from. Last week, South Carolina looked very bad. They got lucky to get out of there with a win against a nobody. Now they go into Lexington and just beat the fucking brakes off Kentucky for 4 quarters. Brock Vandagriff, by the way, Kirby Smart, sorry. I just assumed you weren't giving the guy a shot at the job because you were just an asshole or something. No, he stinks.
Bad. They were so bad.
Is South Carolina sneaky good, though? Is that defense, like Dylan Stewart, is that defense? Blutman, go ahead.
I don't think they're sneaky good. I just think that this was an incompetent offensive line that had zero answer for Dylan Stewart, who is sneaky the best pass rusher in the country, and he's a true freshman playing his second career game. Unblockable.
Yeah, he's damn good.
He's fast, he's powerful.
Yeah.
His reach, problem.
They dominated. Like I didn't see that coming. That was I went 3-2 on my 5 plays I put out today, and I lost that one by 30 points. It was just big. I don't know if South Carolina is good or not.
Yeah, Brent, I think they're okay. I'm Dylan Stewart. Obviously, is incredible. I think you started to say where we convince ourselves in the offseason with this transfer portal that anyone who if they just haven't played, we can sell ourselves that they're good because we just have no idea if they're good. We have like the Brock Vandagriff hype, and I think a lot of people bought into it. It was based off absolutely nothing.
Yeah,
it was based off that he just was like a big high school recruit, and then he went to Georgia. There was nothing concrete about him. Nothing of his skill set. There was no he played a little bit on tape in this game and he looked good and it's this and that. There was nothing to base it off of. He just isn't good.
But that's also a product of and we all do it easily. It's like, well, if Kirby Smart wanted him, he must be good, right? Like he must be if the best college football coach in the game right now brought him to Georgia. And that's just ridiculous because we've seen it plenty of times where recruits don't translate to college. Like 5 stars can be busts and then really good 2 stars can, make a name for themselves. But you're right. Like it's because Kirby Smart wanted him. So we're like, oh, he must be great.
Well, there's one thing we ignore bigger than that. And we ignored it. I didn't say it. Big F, you didn't say it. Blumman, you didn't say it. Casey, you didn't say it. Last January, whenever it was, last December, Mark Stoops accepted another job. Mark Stoops, the Kentucky coach, said, yes, I want to come to your place. I'm going to your coach. I'm going to your team, and I'm going to coach your team. I'm out of here from Kentucky. And that other place, their cult, they didn't like it, so they shut it down, said, no, we don't want this. And then Mark Stoops did the Grandpa Simpson meme, just walked around, and walked right back out. And then he walks back to Lexington and said, all right, guys, I'm back. Let's go ahead and who's starting at quarterback? Brock Vandagriff? Sure, let's go. Like, how do you get things back on track when you just willingly walked out the door and we just ignored the fact, we just thought, oh, that's going to be smooth. There's nothing there. They look fucking garbage.
He also lied to, whether he lied to himself or not, but I still to this day will probably say he never accepted the A&M job. We know that he did, but he tried to play the I'm not going anywhere. And it's we all know that you did, my guy. But I didn't think I thought South Carolina might be the worst team in the SEC. So
things don't get easier for Kentucky either. They got Georgia next, and then they got Ole Miss in a few weeks. Yep. They're done.
I am so glad when y'all gave me the opportunity last week, I did not sell my Clemson stock. I didn't sell it. I just put it to the side. Now, I'm not saying what they did today means they're back and they're going to roll through the ACC. All I'm saying is a lot of people thought this offense is god-awful. It's going to be god-awful forever. and App State is the exact team you don't want to see this week, and App State's going to keep it close. They beat the living dog pissing shit out of App State. They had 56 points at the half. I don't know if Georgia just getting embarrassed. Georgia pissed them off. I don't know if it awoke something in them. I don't know if App State's terrible, but that's as good a bounce back as you could possibly have from Clemson, Big F.
I just don't want us to fall. They bounce back, good for them. No, we can't fall for the Cade Klubnik trap. He's not good. I don't care that he threw 1 million. I don't care they scored 1,000 touchdowns today. He is a decent quarterback at best. Clemson's a good football team. They're not a great football team. They are a top 25 team. I don't think they're a top 10 football team. That's where I'm at with Georgia right now, personally.
They're certainly not as bad as people wanted them to be after Georgia beat them 34-3.
Correct.
Georgia's really goddamn good.
They're terrifying.
Again, y'all told me sell my stock, and I said, nope, I'm putting the stock to the side. I'm not selling it.
I do think that I agree that Cade Klubnik is not. I'm not going to go back and like, oh my god, like Cade Klubnik for Heisman. Their offense did look different. And App State, okay, fine. Like we've seen them fuck some things up in the past. They're still not a horrible team. The fact that they scored 35 points in the first quarter, like that to me, whether it's Dabo, whether they got in the offensive room, and like I said, like they heard everything that everyone was saying. Is this offense has been the same for 5 years? They have nobody that can separate. They're not explosive, and whoever they were playing that was inferior today, they were going to make sure that they shut that up at least for a week, because nobody can say that their offense didn't look great today. Against App State, fine.
I'm going to stop you right there, Casey. I got to talk to somebody. Jake Malasek, get your punk ass out of this unnecessary roughness chat. Get your punk ass out. Nobody wants to see your dog fucking ass in here sitting there saying, well, why won't they talk about Virginia? Talk about Virginia. Talk about Virginia. Shut up about Virginia. Shut up about the Sun, okay? Nobody cares about Virginia and Wake Forest. Yay, Virginia beat Wake Forest. All right, yay, that's fantastic, okay? Like, no, Malasek, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Nobody cares about Virginia. You might win 1 or 2 games this year. Shut up. Shut the fuck up.
It was a great comeback.
Shout out Anthony Colandrea.
Yeah, it was a great comeback.
Electric quarterback to watch.
App State, everyone in the office this week was like going up to me asking if there's any chance that that's like a game or anything. I kept trying to explain to everyone, this App State team has the same logo. They are not even close to being the same team as App State's teams of the past. They don't have a good quarterback. They chose the wrong guy. Ryan Berger's better. He's backing up at Liberty now. Their run game's decent. Their offensive line's decent, and their defense has a bunch of holes. But at the end of the day, it doesn't even matter, because whoever Clemson played today and put up 35 in the first quarter, 56 in the first half, that's a massive achievement, and it should be celebrated, and you should build off that.
Agreed.
Well
said, Blevin.
Thank you.
All right. Somebody walk me through Michigan State and Maryland. Michigan State ends up winning it. Maryland is, Michigan State now 2-0. I don't know what to think about them.
I think Aiden Childs is doing his flashes thing.
Okay.
He's showing us flashes.
So today was a flash.
It's
there were moments of both. There were moments of flash, and there were moments of God, this guy might stink.
There was a ton of chatter about him on the timeline.
There was moments of, oh my God, he might be a draft pick.
Because he's very exciting to watch, but as I've said, it's the flashes stage of his developmental process. It's the child's roller coaster. It is a true roller coaster, but there were, like, you could see the mistakes he made last week, and he built off some stuff this week. And he had the awful throw where he basically threw a touchdown that was an interception. He threw it to the wrong team. But the throw he makes to Marsh at the end of the game to seal the deal, the Childs and Marsh connection for the next 2-3 years, that's something to monitor. That stuff is going to be special. Childs is going to keep getting better week to week. Childs is going to keep getting better. He's going to cut down the interceptions. He's going to cut down the bad mental errors. He's going to be really good. It's going to take time.
We were at the college football show today. We were at the proper pick segment. Big Cat gave his pick. It was Utah -14. And he said this sentence.
Tough.
He said, I'm betting Utah because I know how to bet Utah. What you do is you bet Utah as when Cam Rising is playing because you don't know how long he's going to be healthy. So as long as you can bet Utah while he's healthy, you do it. Well, that lasted about 20 minutes. And Utah was in complete control against Baylor. They were dominating. I haven't heard any updated injury news. I'm seeing this idiot who's the dumbest person we have in our chat, Sean Bennett, who just absolutely shouldn't be here. He should be bumping into walls somewhere in Mincy's apartment. Really fucking stupid guy. And he's like, out for the season. Cam Rising out for the season. Blutman, is there an update? Is he out for the season?
No.
Okay.
Don't fall for that. And also, I don't want to watch Zach Wilson's brother play football again this season. We need to watch Cam Rising play. We're not here for Isaac Wilson yet.
Didn't he break his fingers? Is it fingers or hand?
It was a hand thing, but I don't know exactly what the.
And if he did hurt his finger, he's out for a year. Congrats, college football fans. You'll see him again next year. He's never going away.
But it
goes
is
away. It's just he has to play about 5 minutes first.
Yeah, Dan saying that, and I again, like you guys, obviously all three are much bigger gamblers than me, but like that's just the epitome of like when you put that out in the universe and it happens, you're like, shit, I probably shouldn't have said that out loud.
Yeah. Moving on. So Pac-12/ACC power Cal goes on the road to an SEC team and beats Auburn. And listen, I don't know what it says about Cal. Blutman, I'll let you take Cal in a minute, but I'm just going to take Auburn. Watching that fan base and that coach in particular struggle, watching Hugh Freeze not be able to turn around at Auburn, watching him just stand there with that goofy-ass resting goof face on the sideline as Peyton Thorne, of all people, is out there trying to play quarterback in the SEC. It's an embarrassment. Auburn is an embarrassment. It's pathetic. I say a lot of things about Auburn, but 10 years ago, they would never let a coach go out there and be this mediocre and get this mediocre of a quarterback. Imagine a world where Ole Miss can go to the transfer portal and get Jackson Dart, where LSU can go to the transfer portal and get Jaden Daniels, where Miami can go to the transfer portal and get Cam Ward, and Hugh Freeze and all the money at Auburn's disposal goes to the transfer portal and gets Peyton fucking Thorne, who can't beat a ACC team. I also said Pac-12, an ACC team. Blutman, it's obviously a good win for Justin Wilcox and Cal, but are they decent, or is this just Hugh Freeze not being able to get it going at Auburn? Because Peyton Thorne cannot be your quarterback if you're a serious SEC team.
A lot happened right then while you were speaking. Peyton Thorne could not read at the second grade level. He cannot read a defense to save his life. He is a truly terrible quarterback. The offensive line was terrible too. They couldn't block an ant. That was a disgusting display of effort from Auburn. I think this says a whole lot more about Auburn and the atrocity that you saw than it does Cal, who did this without Jay-Anot. Jay-Anot was a complete non-factor in this game. And while you were talking, Ashton Genty went 70 yards to Krubo.
Yeah.
Tied again?
Yeah, tied with 13 minutes left.
That's running back in America. So all the Oklahoma State fans that spam me every single minute saying Ollie Gordon's better, stop talking.
It's weird that I don't understand the schedule makers. Why is there only one game going on the West Coast right now?
Brandon,
Yeah, don't get it, Brandon.
It's okay.
It's just weird. Only Oregon and Boise State are playing.
Brandon, Wazoo too. Wazoo's playing.
I'm sorry, my mistake. Wazoo is killing Texas Tech.
They literally just punched in another touchdown as I said that.
USC and Utah State are playing as well. It's at halftime.
My bad. My mistake. So 3.
No other games though. That's it.
That's it.
Just those 4.
We don't have to dive deep into this because obviously it's a recap episode, but I don't think that we mentioned because obviously you, Brandon, you were the first one to, and you were 100% correct. What the fuck is Auburn doing with Hugh Freeze? Why did this happen? The article that ESPN put out, was it last week or 2 weeks ago, whatever it was, the Lane Kiffin, super in-depth article, he flat out said that Auburn offered him the job and he decided not to go because of his kids. And I don't think ESPN's running that if that's true. So if that is true, that's an all-time miss for, if you're an Auburn fan, you could be like, what the fuck? Seriously? Because that was the whole thing. Why didn't Lane go to Auburn? That's tough to see that you could have had Lane there and instead you ended up with Hugh fucking Freeze.
Next team on the agenda, the 2-0 Syracuse Orange, who beat
my pick.
Georgia
Oh,
Tech
and Liam's
31-28. Big F, it might make you sad. It might not. You might not care at all. Kyle McCord, 381 yards passing, 4 touchdowns. He appears to maybe be growing into that dude at Syracuse.
I have nothing bad to say about Kyle McCord. I like Kyle McCord. I like his family. I've met his father, good guy. I played quarterback at Rutgers back in the day. He's a monster. But no, listen, he can spin it. Like I don't think he's a bad quarterback. Just at Ohio State, this is going to sound pretentious. We were on a run of Dwayne Haskins, Justin Fields, CJ Stroud. When you're on that run, you're trying to win national championships. He just was just below that. And listen, that's like I said, 3 first-round draft picks. Like that's not everyone can be that, but he's a damn good quarterback. I don't fault Fran Brown at all, being like very excited and being like, hey, like God bless Ohio State for giving us this guy, because I'm sure he's the best quarterback they've had in a while. So I wish him all the best. I was on Syracuse today. I was actually bet him both weeks. He played really well. He could spin it. They got some good receivers there. They have an easy schedule. Like they now are like a somewhat of a dark horse team, I think, in the ACC. Because I think they do play Miami at the end of the year, but I don't think they don't play. Well, Florida State's not good anymore anyway, but they don't play Clemson. Yeah. I don't even think they play NC State. They don't really play any of the.
No, they play NC State.
Do they? All right, so they play NC State.
They go at UNLV, at NC State, at Pitt.
I mean, his we've said it a million times. Like his only sin at Ohio State was just losing to Michigan. Like that. I mean, that's like it wasn't like he was a bad quarterback. Like they just didn't beat Michigan. He had some
sketchy games in there last year. I think he was hurt a little bit. Like the Wisconsin game, he was bad.
I don't think it was a good program fit. I don't think it was a good scheme fit.
Yeah, like I think the mobile, having like Howard, for example, is like the mobile element. I think is huge. And I think him not having it was, like Liam said, just didn't fit in our offense.
But if you guys would have beat Michigan with him, he'd probably still be there, right?
Sure, of course. But that's absolutely.
Right, like that's my whole thing is like
but he threw 2 bad picks in that game, and that really was what cost us the game. So,
right.
I mean,
all right, I'm gonna hit the conferences. So when I see a score that I ignored and didn't talk about, we can hone in on that game. So in the ACC. BYU beat SMU 18-15. SMU just
love it.
Massive disappointment. Just a bad football team.
Rhett Lashley should be one of the leading candidates for hot seat.
I mean,
I'll take his job.
You're going to use this show as a springboard to getting into coaching?
Maybe. I do better at his job than he would. I don't think that's a wild thing to say.
We should get you on GJ Kinney's staff at.
No, actually, GJ's going to go to SMU. I would love to coach for GJ, though.
Duke beat Northwestern in double overtime 26-20 last night. Here's a game that we could talk about. Pitt 28, Cincinnati 27. And all I can tell you about that is while Michigan's out there doing it, and I'm focused on that, I just see Pitt losing to Cincinnati the entire game. Not even close. And all of a sudden I see a tweet from Pitt football saying, "Comeback complete." I'm like, all right, goddamn.
They were down 27-6 with less than 5 minutes left in the third quarter.
Insane.
I was on Pitt money line, so I was avidly watching it as I was traveling through the airport. They literally kicked the game-winning field goal as I was boarding my flight. It was fantastic.
Neither one.
Kids they call them. Those crazy kids in Pittsburgh. God bless them.
Neither one of those teams is good, but one team has a very good receiver in Kanam upfield and a very good running back that's going to need to be talked about a whole lot more. Western Carolina transfer Desmond Reed, the real deal. You see his speed?
Fast.
I didn't know.
I didn't watch the game, I'll be honest. I saw
speed.
His 56-yard reception was fast.
Syracuse 31, Georgia Tech 28, North Carolina 38, Charlotte 20. Boston College 56, Duquesne nothing. I think there should be like a pin in Boston College. Just maybe we come back and look at them later because they're interesting.
They're interesting, but Florida State's just ass. So
I don't care if they're ass. Like they beat the crap out of them. They went to their place and beat the crap out of them, and they have a good quarterback.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Cal 21, Auburn 14. Louisville, who just apparently just never has to play anybody tough. Beats Jacksonville State 49-14, Virginia Tech 31, Marshall 14, Miami 56-9 over Florida A&M, Stanford 41. CPS.
You got this.
CPS.
Got this.
Cal Poly.
Yeah.
Virginia 31, Wake Forest 30.
Insane comeback.
Okay. So anybody out there currently
Colton Andrea.
Don't
Tennessee.
talk bad about Osmo.
Oh.
What happened?
Genty for 3.
What he just shoot a 3?
Yeah, he did. Way downtown.
Touchdown?
Yeah, they lead Oregon.
Oh, well, now we got something. Tennessee 51, NC State 10, and Clemson 66, App State 20. We go to the Big 12, which wasn't having a great day. Texas Tech getting just destroyed in Pullman, Washington right now, 34-10. Arizona 22-10 over Northern Arizona. Kind of a sluggish game from them. Arizona State. And then BYU 18-15 over SMU. Pitt 28, Cincinnati 27. Kansas State 34, Tulane 27. That was my upset alert, and they had to be on alert because Tulane had that ass until that defensive touchdown.
Tulane
they were about to lose that game.
Yeah.
They were incredibly fortunate to win that game.
Utah 23, Baylor 12, we already talked about. Iowa State 2019 over Iowa, we already talked about. West Virginia 49, Albany 14, UCF 45, Sam Houston State 14. Kansas loses to Illinois. Colorado loses to Nebraska. Houston loses to Oklahoma. And TCU destroys Long Island University 45-0.
One of the worst rebrands in college sports history.
What were they?
They were the LIU Brooklyn Blackbirds, and then they merged with LIU Post and became the Sharks.
Boy, your Ashton Jeanty is the best running back in the country. Take is aging like
Fine wine.
The finest of wine.
I've been on this for 3 years.
The finest of wine, Liam Blutman.
I've been hammering home like this is the most talented running back in college football for like 3 years.
So right now, Boise and Oregon are in a war out there.
He can win the Heisman, by the way.
Huh?
He can win the Heisman. He has enough attention, and it's going to keep steamrolling. And when this stuff gets into Mountain West play, and he's putting up the 4 and the 5 touchdown games.
Yeah. USC 27, Utah State nothing at the half. Indiana 77-3 over Will. Duke 26, Northwestern 20.
Western Illinois. Don't worry though. Northern Illinois Twitter said that they were the Bulldogs last week.
What are they?
Leathernecks.
Yeah. Texas 31, Michigan 12. Texas goes into Michigan, wins 31-12. The Longhorns go to Ann Arbor and beat Michigan 31-12. Michigan loses to Texas 31-12. And Texas finally 31-12 winners over Michigan.
I don't think that you're going to have to worry about going back to that house next year.
No shit. All of a sudden, the guy who once declared their program dead, he'd never speak of them again. And then as soon as they started doing something, he gets back in. We have to go every fucking year. Now they're going to suck again. We're not going to have to go. No shit. No fucking shit.
Touchdown, Mississippi State.
Shut up. Rutgers 49, Akron 17, Minnesota 48-0 over Rhode Island, Penn State 34, Bowling Green 27, Iowa State and Iowa, which we hit, Washington 30, Eastern Michigan 9. Washington looks sluggish. I don't think Will Rogers is really the answer there. Michigan State 27, Maryland 24, Wisconsin 27, South Dakota 13. Wisconsin welcomes Alabama next week.
That'll be lovely. Dan said that he's going like as a fan. That can't be fun.
56-0 Ohio State over Western Michigan. That was just they're just kind of just coolly dispatching teams with no regard to human life right now.
It was a flawless game. And also, I can't stress enough, Jeremiah Smith legitimately might be the best player on our football team. He's 18 years old. I don't say that lightly. I don't say that tongue in cheek. He is one of the most talented players I've ever seen on a football field. He's unbelievable.
It does seem like
that he's doing this at that age too.
He's the best. He's better than Emeka Egbuka right now. Like today, he's better. He's
Crazy.
It could be the year of the freshman receiver because, it's the same things happening in Alabama where their best receiver might be that freshman. In the SEC, Mississippi State. And then Texas beats Michigan 31-12. Oklahoma State 39, Arkansas 31, in a game that could get a coach fired and should. Texas A&M 52-10 over McNeese. Georgia 48, Tennessee Tech 3, South Carolina 31, Kentucky 6. That score just boggles my mind.
Kentucky is awful.
21-14 winners for Cal over Auburn. 52-3, Ole Miss continues to roll against Middle Tennessee State. Alabama puts up a fake score in the fourth quarter to win 42-16 when they were winning 14-13 in the fourth quarter. And by the way, I don't know if y'all were watching, but South Florida had the ball at like their 10-yard line, down 14-13, and hit a big one down to the Alabama 30. And the weakest holding call you'll ever see. Holding call you'll ever see called it back. Though Alabama then gets the ball, the weakest roughing the passer call you'll ever see. They had to make sure Alabama gets taken care of.
The shot where they showed Nick Saban on the sideline just like glaring like, how dare you people be on my field was so funny.
Was it just me or it felt like South Florida ran like 30 plays Alabama ran like 30 plays inside Alabama's like 10-yard line and just could not score, but they just kept getting more and more plays. It was crazy.
It felt like the ball never left the 10-yard line and in from South Florida. Like even when South Florida got the ball, they were just stuck there too.
Yeah.
I feel bad that you're missing this game, Brandon.
I'm going to get to it.
Yeah.
Florida 45, Sanford 7, and sorry, Graham Mertz, your job, your watch is complete. You are no longer needed at the University of Florida. DJ Lagway took your job today. 456 yards passing, 3 touchdowns. I know it's against Sanford, but still, it's a freshman in his first game, and Billy Napier has a job to save. So you're pretty much done there.
Wally pipped his ass.
Yep. Mizzou 38-0 over Buffalo. 44.
Mizzou's legit, by the way. I know you've always thought that. They're very good.
We'll see. I still think that defense is going to have trouble against good SEC offenses. LSU 44-21 over Nichols. That's a game that was really close for a while. Vanderbilt 55-0 over Alcorn State. Maybe Vanderbilt deserves a little asterisk to come back and look at later. I don't know.
Diego Pavia season.
Yep. Tennessee 51, North Carolina State 10, and Oklahoma 16-12 over Houston. All right, do the second piece of business, and let's get to who won the week.
What happened, Liam?
It looks like he dropped the ball early.
Who?
Oregon?
He dropped the ball early.
Who?
You just keep saying who?
Oregon.
We're not watching Oregon. We don't have it.
I'm going to go turn the game on. He's not going to.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to have to. I don't even care about. I can get back to USC in a second. I got to change providers here.
It looks like he dropped early.
I'm just going to say, why the fuck doesn't YouTube TV let you
He
have
got lucky?
Casey, do the ad.
There's no way.
Oh, okay. Well,
wow.
The last ad that we have, our friends at Pork Rinds, okay?
Pork rinds.
Pork rinds, Southern recipe, small batch pork rinds. We love, as we've talked about forever. Well, not forever, since they've been with us, which feels like forever because they're family. The spicy dill, they hit. I did have the hot honey when I got home from Ann Arbor today because, Ev, like when you're traveling, you've been you're up really, really early. You're on. You realize you're not eating as much as you probably should. We get off set, we head to the airport, we get home. And I got home and I remember that Pork Rinds had sent me a gigantic box and I grabbed the first bag. It was the hot honey. The crunch was so good. Sat down on the couch, watched all the games for the rest of the day. And I just kept snacking on those pork rinds. And I didn't feel bad about it because they have no carbs and they have a ton of protein. And that's what you need after a day like ours. I have a ton of protein.
What's channel Oregon on?
It just hits the spot every time. It really
Peacock.
does. Crunch. It's the perfect snack.
Oregon on Peacock?
It's on Peacock.
I thought USC was on Peacock.
No, USC, no.
USC's on ESPN, I think.
Oregon and Boise State, 34-34 with 10 minutes left. It's 1:09 a.m. on the East Coast.
All right,
I'm going to take this over. I'm such a bitch. I was going to.
This is crazy. But yes, porkrinds.com. Find your Southern recipe pork rinds and find your crunch time hero at porkrinds.com. They are our best friends for the rest of the season, hopefully forever, because they really are the best snack. Move over pretzels, move over chips, move over all of it. We love the pork rinds. and the spicy dill are still elite. Actually, it's the spicy dill in a black bean hummus. I know it sounds weird.
Yeah.
It was delicious.
I know Boise's solid. I know that. But Oregon's got to fall out of the top 10, don't they? Win or lose. I mean, like this is 2 weeks in a row. Like they've given up 34 points now.
The problem is you've got Iowa's going to drop out of the top 10.
Well, they weren't in it.
I thought they were. No, not Iowa. Well, Notre Dame for sure. Who's Michigan. So Oregon. I bet Oregon's at like 10.
I like Blutman's idea, and Blutman's idea is this: why 25? Why don't we rank the teams that deserve to be ranked? Because I think tomorrow should be like a top 14.
Or why not just do the playoff spots? Just 12. Just 12.
But anyway. All right. It's who won the weekend, who lost the weekend, and shit list. Big F. We will start with you. Who won the weekend?
I mean, it's got to be Texas, right? I mean, listen, you walk into the big house, the reigning national champions, and you just absolutely shit down their throat. You take a big steaming shit right in their mouth, and you just give it to them over and over and over and over again. And they're so soft and so weak and so pathetic. You patronize them to let them score at the end. It's 31-12 instead of it being 49-0, 49-3, which it could have been. And no tongue-in-cheek, they're a real national title contender. They're for real. Quinn Ewers, the strides I've seen him make in the last few years are incredible. Sarkisian is an unbelievable coach, an unbelievable offensive mind, one of the best we have in the game right now. It's Texas. They're a legit national title contender.
Yeah, no, they are, and they're certainly one that could win the weekend. Casey, who won the weekend?
So, I mean, I think Texas is the obvious answer. Tennessee would be a good one too, but I'm going to go as an overall. I think and I said this to start the show, I think college football fans as a whole, unless obviously your team like Notre Dame lost, we had such good football today. And even the good football, the bad football was good. One of the things, in my group text of all my guy friends from college, every time a team would start to look back, Alabama, and we'd all be like, Alabama, ass, Oklahoma, ass, Arkansas, ass. It was one of those things where it's every single window, every single game provided some sort of drama. And what I had a little bit of a debate was somebody said well, the playoff is going to ruin all it. So, this actually makes the playoff even better to me because we're going to get to see these matchups again, hopefully. We're going to get to see these crazy chaotic scenarios play out where it's not just Ohio State, Texas, Georgia, and whoever. So I think as a whole today, as a college football fan and somebody who covers the sport, we just had an awesome day of football. It was ugly football for a lot of the time, but it was awesome. And I mean, it still is. I mean, again, it's 1:15 in the morning and we're watching Oregon go down to the wire. I think fans in general just had a hell of a day.
Ask me first so I can cook Blubman.
Oh, Brandon, who won the weekend?
It's Northern Illinois. It's got to be Northern Illinois. Northern Illinois walked into South Bend, Indiana, and beat the number 5 team in the country. Should they have been number 5? No, but that's not Northern Illinois' problem. Northern Illinois walks in there. The refs tried to fuck them. Everything was against them, and they got the sideline reporters asking them stupid questions because they want to be asking Notre Dame questions. Northern Illinois walked into one of the hallowed stadiums in this country, beat an overrated ass Notre Dame team, the best win in the history of the school. Their coach is crying. What an incredible moment for Northern Illinois. What an incredible moment for college football. It is Northern Illinois in a walk. And I know Texas beat Michigan, but guess what? Big Av, let's be honest. I was expecting Texas to beat Michigan, and so were you. It's good that they did it, but Michigan lost more than Texas won to me. Northern Illinois, this is the biggest thing that's ever happened to their football program. So I think they won the weekend.
And you forgot to mention, got paid $1.4 million to do it.
Blutman, who won the weekend?
I came in with 5. I've added 2. I want to one of mine was Thomas Hammock's tears. That won the weekend. Look what it means to him. Northern Illinois, a former player, just every emotion pouring out of his eyes there. An incredible moment, incredible win. What I would say is tread lightly. Charles Huff and Marshall did this at Notre Dame a few years ago. Everyone kind of assumed, they're gonna run it now, run it the rest of the season, win every game. It's not what happens. Tread lightly. Northern Illinois is a good, solid team, but the MAC's different. It's tough to win in that league. One of the 2 winners I added Tony Sanchez, New Mexico State head coach, going for it with 12 minutes left on 4th and 1 on your own 30 up 8. Love that. Let the balls hang. That's big boy football. More coaches need to take that advice there. Another winner, Ashton Genty, obviously. Max Matson, I also think, has made a fair impression tonight. Anybody who hates Sam Pittman, congrats to you. You had one heck of a day. Harold Fannin, Bowling Green tight end, his bank account. He was the best player on the field today, and he played in Happy Valley. He played at Penn State, and the best player was the Bowling Green tight end. 11 for 137 and a touchdown. It's a tight end doing that at Penn State. He's going to go in the second round. He's going to test really nice at the combine. Kyle McCord is a winner as well, I think, clearly. He looks like a completely different human being in Syracuse. The emotion that dude was showing. Oh, that's a big – Liberty's a winner. That's going to be a strip sack touchdown for Liberty. They're going to have a chance to tie this game up with 10 minutes left. Texas State and G.J. Kinney's a massive winner. 49-10 shellacking against the Roadrunners of UTSA, who've been the class of Texas at that GO5 level.
That's the end?
Yeah.
That's why you ended that sentence?
It ended so abruptly.
Yeah, I know.
There was no cadence to end it.
I realized I had to stop talking.
Brandon was like dying, and then the cadence just...
It was over.
I realized I had to stop talking.
That was like the finale of The Sopranos. Like it was just a black screen came across your words right there.
Spoiler.
All right. Who lost the weekend? Big F.
Brad, there's so many options, Brad. I can go Michigan. I can go.
You're so fucking petty. You're so petty.
I can go this team. I'll just take them both. It's Michigan and Notre Dame. They're both just a bunch of sad sack fucking losers. Brandon, I'm selfish. I'm taking the ball. I'm taking both shots because they both stink. I mean, Michigan, they just getting embarrassed, taken to the woodshed physically, emotionally, spiritually, in every way they could get utterly dominated. They got bent over and fucked in the ass. That's what happened, Brandon. That's the God's honest truth. That might get us demonetized. I apologize for that. But we don't get the money anyway, so it doesn't matter.
And it's also like 1 a.m. I think you're allowed to say that.
Yeah, I mean, you can say things like that at 1 a.m. It's just, listen, Michigan, they just got embarrassed on every level. And Notre Dame, obviously, because they're just pathetic. They are truly pathetic. We should patronize Notre Dame more. But they don't have to be in a conference because they're not serious, Brandon. Because they don't really have a shot to win. We let them go, you can't get a top 4 seed. You can have a little 5 seed, get your little prop you up, you have a chance. But they're not going to be a 5 seed, Brandon, because they can't even beat a MAC team at home. They're a joke.
Casey, who lost the weekend?
I mean, it's Notre Dame, and I understand you guys are going to do your Michigan thing, and you should. You absolutely should. Texas was favored. I think Texas is by far a better football team. Notre Dame losing to Northern Illinois is god fucking awful. And, they lost to Marshall a few years ago, and it was an easy thing. But, listen, as an Aggie, I can't talk a lot of shit because they beat us last week. But as somebody who watches college football as a whole, you had everything in front of you according to every stat, every percentage to make the playoff, everything. And you have, regardless of what you think A&M looked like last week, it was at home, Kyle Field, at night, every eye in the country on you, 107,000 people, and you win. And then you turn around and go to your home opener and lose to Northern Illinois when you were a 4-touchdown favorite. That it's inexcusable. If you're a Notre Dame fan and you even remotely try to make an excuse for this, it's god awful. And the fact that sure, they may win out. I don't think they're going to. I thought they were going to lose 3 games. Ev, you said it perfectly earlier. You cannot let a team into the playoff that lost to Northern Illinois when you were a 4-touchdown favorite. Point blank, period. The season is over. Biggest loser of the week.
Bloodman, who lost the weekend?
Rhett Lashley.
How many do you have?
5. Added 1, actually. I have 6.
6. Okay,
Go.
6.
Rhett Lashley, yuck. Terrible at his job. If you have 2 quarterbacks, you have no quarterbacks. He thinks Kevin Jennings is the guy. He has shattered Preston Stone's confidence. RJ Maryland, Brandon, great player, great tight end.
Yeah.
2 receiving yards on Friday. Tell me how that works in a game where they scored 15 points. He is a bad football coach predictable, gross, bland brand of football. The Sanders family is also a massive loser tonight. We've kind of already harped on that.
I don't like that one.
Yeah, anybody
He's
who
right.
watched Duke Northwestern, massive loser, even though we got double OT. That game stunk. AP voters for having 0 brain cells. You lose once again. Seems like you lose every single weekend. I'm not sure how you're ranked, how you have this job, how these people have this job. The least knowledgeable people in our college football world. Cam Rising haters. Fingy hurt. Another year of college football. You'll see him again. And Oregon, big loser.
Oh, Brandon, who lost the week? God, gorgeous pass.
I just love Big Av knowing what I'm about to do and just going like,
I know what you're about to do. I mean, it's the most obvious thing ever.
What am I going to do?
You're going to talk about Dave.
I'm not going to talk about Michigan. No. The biggest loser this weekend is that phony, fake, short piece of shit Dave Portnoy. The fact that he just orchestrates, and listen, I am thankful to him that I have a job and he changed my life, and that's all well and good. Who gives a fuck, okay? Because he has this whole college football show that's just a Michigan circle jerk for 3 years. 3 years ago, that man sat on that show and said, I will never acknowledge Jim Harbaugh or this program again. They're dead to me. They're terrible. He wouldn't wear Michigan stuff. He ran from it. He was a coward then. And as soon as things changed, and I don't know how they changed, I guess magic. I guess just magic happened, and all of a sudden Jim Harbaugh was a good coach and J.J. McCarthy's a good quarterback, and the defense was great. Magic happened, and he came back in. He bought himself a crown. He bought himself a scepter. He started walking around looking like the dude from Shrek, the king from Shrek, and he's a short little motherfucker saying, oh, I'm the king, I'm the king, I'm the king. And then he just got slapped right in the fucking jaw today by Texas, by a real football team. The fairy tale is over. You can't name 2 players on that fucking team. You never could. And this cosplaying as a champion is over because nobody believes it. You phony, fake piece of shit. That's who lost the weekend.
How do you feel now? Do you got it off your chest?
I got more in there, to be honest. I didn't.
Hey, guess what? You know what? Like, I love live shows because live shows are great for like the atmosphere and the crowd. Studio shows hit different when things like this happen. We're back in studio this week, and I can only imagine how hard my job is going to be to try to keep you people on track. The babies.
Hey, how hard was it to keep him on track when he just kept bringing up Michigan?
Well, I know, but like it's never going to stop. Like the babysitting talent that I'm going to have of the 4 grown men that I work with on this show is at a different level because I cannot imagine how long this show is going to be. I'm just saying.
All right. It's shit list time. What?
I think that I want to go first off of what you just did because it's kind of like off the heels of that.
All right, go.
Can I go? So first and foremost, Michigan got humiliated, embarrassed, the whole thing, okay? Texas, much better team. Texas deserved to win the game. My shit list, and, Brandon, you were kind of in the mix with it. It's all you fucking people out there that gave me such a hard time, including you, Brandon Walker, about when I made the video that I actually wasn't crying. I never actually cried watching the Connor Stallions documentary, but I was a little bit teary. I was a little bit, and I tried to equate myself like, oh my God, my 18-month-old son, if he wants to win A&M a national championship, I'd be okay with it. I thought that video was dead and over. And I'm sitting in the house today and I see a nice couple walk in and hug Dave. And I look and this woman, this very nice, gorgeous blonde woman is like, oh my God, I think I've done something wrong. And she just starts crying and she's like, I'm Connor Stallion's mom. And I just want to let you know that I watched your video so many times and I want to thank you. I want to thank you for understanding me and my family. So my shit list is all of you people out there. They're like, he didn't do this. I got his dad to cry, his mom to cry. Dave was saying how beautiful it was. Connor Stallions was saying, I just want to let all you know, Brandon, you couldn't even look her in the face when I said, he said this video was fake. And she said, you just don't get the mother-son relationship. I'm just saying. Just saying. You know what? I'm going to go second. Now hold on.
No, hold up.
A little inside baseball moment, because you walked your happy ass into that living room and you saw Connor Stallion standing there, and you saw his family. His dad looks just like him, by the way, and you saw his mom, and you tried to leave. And I said, no. You come on over. You need to talk to this woman in the face and tell her what you said to me.
The fact is it my turn now?
Sure.
Okay. Well, I had something different prepared.
I know you did.
But my shit list is Casey Smith. The fact that she just did that performance on this show on this day when everybody at Michigan was exposed. The fact that you still believe that people shit on your video because they don't get the bond between a mother and a son, and they don't get motherhood, and they don't get these things. No, people get motherhood and fatherhood. They understand these things. What they also know is that motherfucker didn't do what he did for his mom, and no fucking stupid ass documentary is going to convince anybody of that. He did it so Michigan would like him, so Michigan can do this, so Jim Harbaugh would shine on him. He did it for that. He did underhanded things for Michigan, not for his fucking mom. I don't care if his mom walks in right now and gives me a bouquet of flowers. He didn't do shit for you. And that ain't got nothing to do with you, Casey, or your son. That was a fucking football cheating scandal, and no mother anywhere has anything to do with it. That was a ridiculous video you did.
He's only a Michigan fan because of his mother.
Who cares? Who gives a fuck?
You get so worked up with this, and you know that I was just and Ev and I talked about this too. I was just putting that out there. I knew I was like Heisenberg throwing the shit, and the fact that the full circle came around where his mother was literally crying to me, saying she showed all of her friends. I was like, if this isn't just exactly why we do this, I don't know what is. I forgot about that video. I completely forgot. Of course, I don't think Connor Stallions only did that because of his mother, but he is only a Michigan fan because of his mother. I'm just saying. Confirmed today.
Big F. Who's your shit list?
Brandon, we did a live college football show today, in live college football show in Ann Arbor, Michigan. I was surrounded by a bunch of rowdy, stupid, I would imagine some drunk fans talking a lot of shit. And I would like to take this opportunity to look directly in the camera and say,
ooh,
talk shit now, bitches. Stupid fucks. Talking all this shit, yapping, fat boy like you're Dave. Only the guy that pays me handsomely, by the way. New contract. Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Gets to call me fat boy. Not these random fucking schleps. They're at my show next to me, chirping me, talking about national champions. You're going to beat us in a few months. You're going to beat Texas today. Where you at? Where are you? I wish I knew all of your names so I could call you individually. I don't know them, but you know who you are.
And they know you, Ev.
And you feel really stupid right now.
Ev, can I tell you something? I know you already know this, but you would have a phenomenal wrestling career. The way that you are when you're in the crowd, it is bar none. Like, you are so fucking good at riling those people up.
I appreciate that. You're not the first to say that to me. I've never watched wrestling, so I would like to think that it's organic. I would love to do it. I don't think the problem is I couldn't do any of the physical parts.
That is a problem.
If they want a fat guy to go there on a mic and talk some shit, I'll do that. I'll do that all day. But if they want me to be doing like swanton bombs on the top rope, like that's not gonna. I'm gonna die. I would die.
Blubman, your shit list, please.
People that think takes live and die in a week are insane people. Need to put the phone down for a little bit, which is kind of funny coming from me because I never put the phone down. I'd be working, but people think takes live and die in a week. You're unbelievable. Let things breathe. Let things play out. The Michigan State fans that dared tweet me today saying I jumped off the Aiden Childs coaster are I don't know if they listen to words. Like, I was out there last week. I was on here. I was on Twitter. I was saying the blueprint. I was saying it's a developmental process. You got to let things play out. He'll grow, and he'll get better, and he'll learn from his mistakes. In turn, what they believe I said was he's the worst quarterback ever and needs to be assassinated. I'm not sure where the language barrier is there, but this apparently happens often. Oklahoma State fans, Oh my goodness, I don't want to do this, but yes, let takes breathe, please. Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you. Goodbye. Anybody want to? I mean, I know we're about to get over, and who's going to win this Oregon Boise State game? Anybody want to predict?
It looks like Oregon's positioning themselves to go ahead and finish it off right now.
It's commercial, but
it's 3rd and 1. They're at about the 25.
Yeah. Oregon's massively overrated.
All right.
But as Liam said, in a vacuum.
We'll be back Monday or Tuesday. We'll figure that out off the air. And then, yes, Bletman?
Arizona State, Texas State live stream Thursday.
I would think not.
Oh, man.
I
almost had you.
You didn't. You didn't get close. Almost had you. All right, everybody, thank you for watching.
Wait. Oh. Got to do it. No. Your favorite part, Brandon. Okay.
Thank you for watching. Thank you for being part of it. We'll be back Monday or Tuesday. And that is Unnecessary Roughness.